The question, yes, sir.
Let's say you have a non-Jew who has overcome idolatry and now is a Ben Noah. He comes to fall in love with Torah Shabbat. All right, then he has trouble accepting.
He falls in love with the written Torah.
Yes.
Let's use that to everyone.
Excuse me. So then he has a problem liking the oral Torah.
Right.
Can you help us with that?
Sure.
Please.
First, I'm going to ask one thing. I'm getting a slight mild feedback because I think that speaker, which may be a monitor, if that can be turned down just a drop, because it's going to...
Just turn it this way, just a tad.
Yeah, it's still getting it. Maybe if you can turn it down, because we are getting to be generous, it's fine. We'll carry. That's good. Right there. Okay. What was your question? I'm sorry. Okay, so you have a person who presumably was a Christian, or in Texas. Okay. And, okay, so he leaves Christianity, he jettisons all Christian doctrines, he embraces Judaism, and he embraces the written Torah and not the oral Torah. Now, I can show any person who has any question about the oral Torah, it's very easy to discover that the written Torah had to be accompanied by a oral transmission. Okay? In fact, there's a whole chapter in volume 1 on this subject alone. And I give 50 examples of this. Because if there is no oral Torah, let me do it real simple with you. There are 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. Okay? They're all consonants, or what we now would call a vowel carrier. Where are the vowels in the Hebrew language? Where are they? They're those little dots. They're called nekudot. The little dots or lines that are underneath the letters or above the letters. You got it? Now let's take the English language, right? If you imagine the English language and you just take out A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y. So, I always knew that, right? I never forgot that thing. So, what would happen if I just took a word and I stripped every vowel out? I could probably make 10 different words out of it. Dad, did, you go forever. You can just take any one word out, and all the vowel out, put in another vowel, and the two words have nothing to do with each other. Now, are the vowels beneath the letters, are they written Torah or oral Torah? They're totally oral Torah. That's why in the Dead Sea Scrolls, which Ross and I are going to be visiting in November, which you're going to see the actual Dead Sea Scrolls, because they're not in the caves any longer. You'll see the cave, but there are no scrolls there that we know about. They're now housed in the Shrine of the Books in the Israel Museum. There are no vowels. Okay. Well, what happened? Well, what did they do? They were only known orally. If you change the vowels in the word, you change the meaning of the word. Nothing could be more simple than that. And everybody knows what I'm saying is true. There's no one who's saying, no, there's no such thing as vowels, and changing vowels and changing meaning. That's nonsense. Shouldn't boil a kid in its mother's ches lamed beis. Well, is it mother's milk? Mother's fat? Depends what vowels you put under there. If it's chalev, chalev, two different words. Both of them make perfect sense. Perfect sense. When were the nekudot, this vowel system, when was it introduced? When someone made it up. That's why it's not in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Actually, a family made it up. That means it came up with a great written system, a way to record what was until then only known orally. And that was a family, in the land of Israel. There were a number of attempts. This is in the 8th, 7th, 8th century. There was actually the Jews and simultaneously the Arabs were doing the same thing because of their consonant lahavdil, but their consonant system also had no vowels, and we came up with one system that became universally the one that you know of. That's man-made. That's why a Torah scroll doesn't have them. We're not allowed to put them in there because people came up with a great system that you're welcome to publish in your Hebrew books. You're welcome to put it in there if it's printed, but you cannot put it in the parchment that is read as ordained by God, instituted by Moses in that scroll. You can't put anything in there that's not from God. So it should be said that every Christian Bible in the world, in 99.99% of the case, follow our oral Torah completely, follow our vowels. The King James is going to go, well, no, we don't believe in Rabbinic Judaism, we're going to change the vowels around. It's insane. They're going, we don't believe in Rabbinic Judaism. You can't read your Bible without the oral Torah. Okay? If you have even the most superficial, perfunctory knowledge of the Hebrew language, you know exactly what I am speaking about. And incidentally, if you shipped in here from Houston Baptist University, Dallas Theological Seminary, all their professors of Christ for the Nations, and light up the whole room with them, they'd kill me. I'm kidding. They would say absolutely. What I'm saying is just, if you doubt me, you look it up on Wikipedia, and then you'll know it's true. So the key point is, you can't believe that there's only a written Torah and an oral Torah. And I'm taking just something so simple and superficial as how do you read the text? What does the words mean? Because if you change the vowels in any language, whether it's English, whether it's Spanish, whether it's Hebrew, you change the way this word sounds and you change the meaning of the word completely. And that the vowel system is part of what's called a Masorah. The word Masorah means that which is handed down. It's kind of a synonym of Kabbalah. Masorah means that which is handed down. Kabbalah means that which is received. That's why the rabbis who assembled this written system that we use today, we used everywhere in the world, and recorded what was then passed down from generation to generation, who recorded the Masorah are called, what are these rabbis called? Masoretes. And what is that text called that has the vowels? The Masoretic text. The oldest Masoretic text that we have in existence. You'll also join Ross and I in November, or join me in July. You'll see the Aleppo Codex, which dates back to 930. The oldest complete Masoretic text in existence is the Leningrad Codex that dates back to 1008. So that's it. That closes the door on this issue. What happens is something that I alluded to in the past, is that folks leave the church, and they go, sure, Trinity, God like killed some innocent guy for my sins. No way. There's nothing remotely resembling that in Tanakh. But they bring with them, and please don't be offended, but people bring with them the culture of the church, that worldview, that Weltanschauung, the smoke, the still, and that's the part, and that's why Isaiah uses these delicious words, Isaiah 52, wash yourself. Why is he saying wash yourself? Get rid of the smoke, get rid of the smell. And that's what happens, that people leave the church and embrace the Jewish faith, but they bring worldviews and just ways of thinking from the church with them. And you got to pray hard, oh God, please wash me. And the only way is Torah, there is no other way. And so that would be like very easy, and there can be no answer to that. I mean, you want to go further. I mean, the Torah says that no Moabite could ever be a convert to Judaism. Okay, cannot, because they did not greet you on the way when you left the promised land. Well, Ruth was a Moabite. How did she wind up being the great-grandmother of King David? King David couldn't possibly be not just King David, but the great-grandfather of the Messiah, with whom he made a covenant in 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 12 through 16. The answer is, without an oral Torah, Ruth could never have converted to Judaism. The oral Torah says that it would only be men who would be leaving their homes to greet travelers. Women would never come out of their home, and therefore only this law applies to male Moabites, not to female Moabites. Now, if you don't have that oral Torah, you're going to have to explain to me how Ruth ever converted to Judaism. I mean, this is like light stuff. This is like nothing stuff, okay? Now, I want to also say that this was never even questioned by the early Christians. I mean, in the Christian Bible, it's another part that I discuss extensively in Volume 1, and I'm never pushing books. Amazon. I'm kidding. But in the Christian Bible, you have the oral Torah everywhere. The earliest Christians, if you said to them, there's no oral Torah, they look at you like you're crazy. Because there are things that just make no sense without the oral Torah. I mean, the whole thing is just presumes that everyone knows the oral Torah. Okay? It was the Pharisees and scribes that sit in Moses' seat and therefore follow what they tell you. Do as they say, but don't do as they do, Matthew 23. Well, if the oral Torah was invented by rabbis and not from God, why are you supposed to do everything the Pharisees tell you to? They've made up the whole oral Torah. The conversations make no sense in the Christian Bible. You know, I mean, the conversations about, you know, in John chapter 7, 20, 21, where Jesus heals a man, and he's always challenged by those damn Pharisees going, why are you healing someone on the Sabbath day? As though there's some prohibition. I mean, this is total fatuous material, but actually it hinges on oral Torah. It means there is no prohibition of praying over anybody to be healed on Shabbos. We do it in our synagogue every Shabbos. We make a mishaberach. The story is completely invented. What exactly would have been a rabbi's problem with Jesus healing anybody on the Sabbath day? The story is made out of almost whole cloth. If you ask me why I inserted that modifier, I'll explain. If not, I don't want to overwhelm you. Time is limited. So, and Jews had no other problems in the world? All right, but fine. All right, so, we have a problem with, so Jesus responds, he says, but you can circumcise a boy on the 8th day if it comes out on Shabbos. So if you can heal a small limb, how much more so could you heal the entire body? Okay, now, I defy you. Just go to any Christian in the world. Explain to me that text. Explain to me what is the basis of that response. Okay, the response is, if you can perform a circumcision on Shabbos, which means you can heal a small limb, which is what the text says, then for surely this is a common rabbinic method of logic, and that is, if you can do a small thing, then you can certainly do a big thing. If you can't drive in the state of Texas with an alcohol level of 0.08, you certainly can't drive in the state of Texas with an alcohol level of 0.1. Then you're dead. But anyway, so obviously, then you can't drive with twice that amount. Okay, so that's what that means. It's just very simple. It's called a kal v'chomer. So could anybody explain to me? There are a lot of former Christians here. You've studied the Christian Bible probably backwards and forwards. Can anyone explain what was Jesus saying? Now, Jesus never said this. This story conversation could not have happened. It is fiction. But what does it hinge on? Please don't be shy. The reason is you'll never be able to answer that question. You'll never, because it makes no sense. Please, any of you, do it in general. Say, hey, just could you explain to me what Jesus' response is? Just lay it out and make sense out of it. I can, because I know the oral Torah on which that is based. No Christian can explain it. John 7, 20 through 22. None. Go to HBU, go to the top guy, explain to me exactly what does this conversation mean? What does it mean if you can circumcise a child on the 8th day? What does circumcised child on the 8th day have to do with anything? Okay, I can. I should get a job at HBU. But after what happened, it's not likely to happen anyway. Sorry. Okay, so let's explain what's going on. It is forbidden on Shabbos, based on the oral Torah, that one is not allowed to cause a bloodletting wound on Shabbos. Okay? You're not allowed to cause a bloodletting wound. You'll find it nowhere in the written Torah. Okay. However, because when we have the commandment to circumcise a boy on the 8th day, the Torah says you should do it on that day. For the oral Torah tells us that afilu b'Shabbos, even if it comes out on Sabbath, meaning the oral Torah is saying that ordinarily you're not allowed to cause a bloodletting wound on Shabbos. However, there's an exception in the oral Torah. That is, if a boy is born on Shabbos, that means the bris is on Shabbos, the circumcision on Shabbos, that's 8 days later. So on Shabbos, you do a circumcision. As long as the child is healthy, you must do a circumcision. Okay? So you understand? So the oral Torah, there's a special dispensation from the oral Torah that circumcision you're allowed to. You got it? So now we understand the New Testament from the Talmud. It's unbelievable. It's really, anyway, I can't believe I'm hearing this. Do you see how crazy it is? They never don't know. These Christians, I'm trying to show you how these Christians, so many of them are such good people, they mamish don't know. They sit at these Dallas Theological Seminaries and Fuller and all this and this, and they don't know. They don't know. And they go, oh, we don't believe in rabbinic journey. Really? Please explain to me your whole Christian Bible. What is the Sabbath day journey in the book of Acts? I mean, I could do this forever. If you would have told an early Christian there's no oral law, they would have said, you may want to try Prozac. So I'm just telling you, they say, you're insane. I mean, it doesn't say the Sadducees sit in Moses' seat. It's a Pharaoh. So this is all, I would never want to heal somebody and make somebody pure by using something impure. I do not use a Christian Bible to make somebody pure. But it is important to understand that the notion that there is no oral law was a much later Christian invention. Why that's the case, you can download my lecture on the oral Torah or ask tonight, when did the church actually change course and say we don't believe in the oral Torah? That would happen. That's a divorce that would be necessary for the church. When did it happen? It really happens in Nicaea over the Jewish calendar, but because it just became disgusting that we should rely on the Jews to tell us, when we should celebrate Easter and so on and so forth. So that's when the change would happen. But the Messianic movement, which is a Christian denomination, a Christian sect that follows Slocto, whatever, whether it's Southern Baptists or whether it's charismatic groups, on doctrine, they follow it exactly. So they're taught we don't believe in rabbinic Judaism. You don't take your Christian Bible and throw it out the window. None of it makes sense. But anyways, it's very easy. The way to easily prove it is, please explain to me where these vowels come from. How do you know what the text says without vowels? I can change these vowels. Can I change the vowels around and we'll have a different meaning? When Moses gave the Torah at Mount Sinai, or actually at the end of his life, he wrote the Torah, he wrote 13 Torahs. Were there vowels in there or were there no vowels in there? Okay, everybody knows that there were no vowels in there. Okay, there's no vowel in Dead Sea Scrolls which date back to the 3rd century BC.
אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא ועת נעשה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה